Hi everyone, it's Sue. Welcome back. Well, all I can say is holy scrap. This is just a portion of my scraps. I've been trying to do a little bit of purging and tidying up around my workspace, and it's such a huge job. And I always thought I was not one to collect scraps. Well, I'll have to say that I am now somebody who collects scraps, obviously. So this is just 2 drawers. I have so many more, but I thought I'd start a little, I'm loath to call it a series, but I'll call it Holy Scrap, because I'm sure we all have, if we're addicted to this junk journaling journey of making journals and ephemera, I'm sure we all have accumulated quite a few scraps. So I'm going to just do a few videos. Every video that I do won't be using scraps, but I just want to add to the series. I'll put it in a playlist so that you can just easily find them if you're interested. So this will be the first one today. I just thought I have to go through them now and try and do something. I have a dear friend of mine who says that these aren't scraps, but to me scraps are anything that you've cut into, like a 12-inch, these were 12-inch pieces of paper, 12-inch pieces of paper, and you've got leftovers. To me, they're scraps, so they go in a drawer because I don't want to put them in with my full 12-inch sheets of paper. And then we go to the other extreme where we have, you know, smaller bits. You know, some of these I don't know whether I will keep, but that's the whole idea of doing this series, is having a look. You know, like I've pulled a book apart that had handmade paper in. I might keep that for art journaling. But anyway, this is what the series is for, and I'm calling it Holy Scrap because every time I look at it, I say holy, you know, the word. So let's get stuck in, and we'll just do, today I'm just going to make a ticket, and I'm going to just do collage on the tickets, little tickets, because I've got this left over from, I don't even know what from, but we can cut this in half and fold it and make it into a ticket, and then we'll just do little collages on each one. So I'm going to pop all this to the side, and I'm going to start with this as my base. If you've got coffee dyed paper, or if you want to use you know, like colored cards, that sort of thing, you can use whatever you have. We're not all going to have the same scraps, but these are just going to be some little ideas on how to use those pieces up and to put them into your journals. All right, just bear with me while I get organized. All right, I've got 2 pieces of paper, it's like a card, it's a lightweight card, and it's about 3.5 inches wide. So I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise, so that works out to 1 3/4. So let's do that first. And if you don't have scraps, that's fantastic because you'd have a lot more room in your craft room, I know that. You can still do a similar sort of thing by cutting down some 12-inch paper or A4 paper. So I've just roughly cut them down. You don't have to have that width, but that's just what I'm going to do so I don't make more scraps for myself. And these are 12 inches wide, 12 inches long. So I just think I'm going to roughly fold these about 3 inches. So which means we'll get about 4 tickets in each length. And I'm just going to fold just like that, and then fold again, just to get a little bit of an approximate size for all of them. They'll all be similar. Okay, so just go through and do that to your strip or strips, whatever, however many you've got, and then we'll move on to the next step. So I've folded all those. Now it's hard to differentiate where the fold is, so I'm going to just put a little bit of ink on the folds there, and then we're going to just make these into like little tickets, so they look like little tickets. So I'm just going to use walnut stain just because it's the first one that I grabbed. Now these are all probably nothing new. You've probably seen something similar to this before. I just thought there might be somebody that hasn't seen this sort of thing, and I may as well share with you what I'm doing with my scraps. I need to try and clean up and just, I don't know, sometimes I walk into my craft room and I'm just so overwhelmed by the amount of things I have in here, and it really does stop me from creating. And I don't know whether you're the same. Sometimes I just walk in and I just walk straight back out again because I can't cope with all the bits and pieces that I have. So rather than throw it all out, you know, like within reason, some smaller bits I will, because there's just, you know, because I create, basically do something every day, you're always going to be making more scraps. So if you've got time after you've done a project, you can do some of these using up your scrap videos there and then that saves a lot of you know, drawers full of scraps, doesn't it? And so I don't know, I'm always just want to get on to the next project without worrying about, you know, using up my scraps. But it's probably a really good idea to try and do that, get in that mind space and try and use your scraps, or have a little basket on your desk, and once that gets full, you're not allowed to add anything more to it until you do something with it. I don't know. Is that too strict? I don't know. Otherwise we just keep getting more and more, don't we? I know I do anyway. So I'm just trying to differentiate, or just to show where the folds are so you can see where they are. And then you'll just need a hole punch, just a little hole punch, because we're just going, you know how tickets have that little curve in the top of it, in the top of each join. We're just going to do that basically. So let me just get my hole punch. Okay, I've got this U-Butte We Are Memory Keepers monster hole punch, and I hardly ever use it. I keep forgetting that I've got it, so I'm going to use that. But you can use whatever you have. You can use one of these works even just as well. So what I'm going to do is, let me think, I'm just going to put, I think I want a bigger hole punch than that. I think I'm going to use this 5/16 of an inch hole, and I don't even know how to use it. It's that long since I've used it. I'm just going to put the corner of the paper in there, and I'm just going to cut that. No, that's not how it works. All right, I'm going to put the corner in there and I'm going to cut that, just so you get this little divot in the top there, so it looks like a ticket that you can perforate and tear off. And that's something that you can do once we collage these. You can actually tear these off and use them in your journal singly, or you could even just fold them up and pop them in a pocket. It'll all make sense once we get going. So go through with your hole punch and just punch a hole. It doesn't matter if they're not exactly the same. So you can see that I've put the corner into there further than this one. I'm not concerned about that. It's just a matter of getting a little hole in there. So I'll go and do that. Okay, so when you've done all your folded bits with the holes, don't forget to do the two ends as well. So I'm just joining them at the end there, and then just doing the same, just putting a little corner into your hole punch. Once again, doesn't have to be perfect, just punch. So you can see there, it sort of makes it look a little bit more authentic. So I'll just finish those two. All right, very messy. Now I'm also going to just go and ink around all the edges and just inside these little divots that I've punched. So I'm going to do front and back once again, just so that it gives that vintage feel. If you don't ink, that's fine. I love to ink, make everything look a little bit older. And then we're going to get into just doing some collage. So you might want to grab just a few embellishments as well. So we're going to use scraps as well as maybe some labels, maybe some flowers, some butterflies. You may even have some of those in your paper scraps that you can fussy cut out. So go and grab those after you've inked around your tickets, and then we'll just get started. Okay, so I've inked around all of those. They're starting to look quite nice, nice and vintage. Now I'm just going to go through my scraps. So I'm going to try and bring one of these drawers over. I'm really not sure what's in. These sit behind me, so whenever I craft, I just shove bits and pieces in here. So, you know, I've got some beautiful leftovers from some 12, oh, actually I think that's a printable. That's actually the back of some product. You know, I've got all sorts of bits and pieces. So I'm just going to grab some bits out, and then we can start playing. So this is a printable of coffee dyed paper. This is actual coffee dyed paper. Actually, that's got some pattern on it. These are interesting. They're manila folders that I've coffee dyed, so I'll get some of that as well. So just gather your scraps that you think you might use, and then we'll get started. Okay, so I've just got a few bits and pieces, and then I'll also grab some embellishments shortly. But what we just want to do now is collage these bits here. Now we can do both sides if you want to. I think I might just do one side, just thinking that if I want to, they can be torn and used as little pockets or decorations on the side of a page. So I'm going to lay the 4 of them out all at once. I'll just make sure that I am actually in frame. Yep. And I'm basically just going to tear and place down bits and pieces of paper wherever. I'm not going to try and think about it too much. I will do a little bit of inking just to get rid of any white pieces, and I'm just going to, as I said, tear and just place them down at the moment. I've got the fan going because it's really muggy here again today, so we're going to have a bit of issue with that. Seems to be a regular thing in my videos lately. So I might just speed this part up as I'm just putting together some layers, just to show you what I can do. Now I also had these. I've got a heap of these that I cut a whole heap out for my mystery boxes of some slides, and I've got all these, so this will be good. I might even try and do a video just using up these little bits as well, but for now I'm going to speed up the footage here and just show you what I'm going to put together. Okay, so I decided I was overthinking it too much, and I've decided just to go and put a neutral base torn piece of my scraps down on each little ticket first, and then I'll build from there. So you may have seen me struggling to try and work out what to do. So I thought if I just do a base on every single ticket with some neutrals, and then we can build color and embellishments from there. So I've just put some neutral colours down on the tickets as a base. So it looks pretty messy at the moment, but that's okay. We're going to build on that. So I thought I might, because there are some blank spaces, just to sort of, so that you don't feel like you have to put something everywhere. I thought I'd just use the same ink as what I've used to ink around the edges. And I'm just going to randomly do a little bit of script stamping. I have no idea. I think this might be a darkroom door stamp. Don't quote me on that, but it's just my old faithful script stamp. I just grab for it all the time, and I'm just going to use my fingers just to sort of curve the stamp and just stamp randomly over these bases. So you can see there, it's just giving another little bit of texture. Overlap them if you want to overlap onto the other ticket. So it's just giving it a nice little soft bit of texture there, just in those blank spots on the ticket there. You can do second generation stamping if you want to, so that it's not as heavy. So it just changes the look of it already. And I'm not even sure whether I've got this stamp upside down or not. I can't, because it doesn't really say anything. So it's not, it's a really good one to use. It's not, you know, something that you need to sort of make sure you've got going the right way. And having said that, if you want to stamp it going up and down, you can as well. So we'll do some like that. If you don't have a script stamp, you can just use some texture stamps, a grid stamp, something like that. All right. So you can see that that looks different already from the original layer that we did. So then I wanted to add a little bit of color. So I went through my scraps, and there was this printable that I had left over, and then this cardstock scrap that I had as well, and I just thought, you know, they go quite well together. I just want to add a little bit of color, and that's as easy as it is. I'm just going to go through now, add a little bit of color, and then I'm going to come back in and add just some little bits of ephemera, some labels, maybe some butterflies or flowers. I think one of the tickets we might go so that whatever the piece of ephemera is going vertically, and then maybe we'll do two that are going vertically and then two that are going horizontal. So I'm going to add some color, and then we'll get on to the ephemera piece. Okay, so you can see I've just really, once again, they're just really scrappy, very messy, but that's the whole idea. We've hardly even put a dent in that pile of scraps that I pulled out, but we're making something and we're using them. So that's what this is all about. And I'm only doing 4, so you could sit and have a couple of hours sessions doing this, and even just doing the bases and then decorating them as you put them into your journals. So on the cardstock, it just looked a little bit too blank, so I just went through with my script stamp again and just did a very quick stamp on those. So now I'm just going to grab my labels and some flowers and some butterflies, and we're just going to decorate them, and then we're going to call them done. So I've just got some labels, some acetate florals, vellum florals, butterflies, more labels, and I've got some words here that I did in a Word document, and my printer decided to mess up the top, but we could cut out some of these and use them as well. So let's just get some decorating done. All right, so these have turned out just beautifully, I think, anyway. And originally I was thinking I'd use a lot of colour, but I came across these beautiful gold vellum stickers, and I've just left them fairly plain, fairly neutral. I've just cut those words out and just stuck them down, and I just think they're really pretty. Just a great way to use up your scraps. You can do journaling on the back. As I said, you can tear these off individually and use them as decorative pieces in your journals, or we can just fold them up like a ticket and pop them in a pocket. So aren't they sweet? So I did do 3 with florals and greenery. I love these roses. And don't be afraid to cut your labels and use the extra bit on something else. So I just cut the label here and put the rest of it there. This is left over from something else that I had used a label on. And then these are just some acetate greenery stickers that I've used. So they're very, they don't stand out is what I'm trying to say. They just sort of blend into the background. And then just some vellum labels as well. And then I did, going horizontally, I did some butterflies. And then I just added some labels and some words there. So same thing, fold it up, pop it in a pocket, or, you know, tear them off and use them individually. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you'll use up some of your scraps doing that. Great way just to, even as I said, if you just do your bases and then you can decorate them as you go to use them in your journals. So all right, holy scrap guys, let's get through these scraps that we've got. I'll be back soon with another video. Take care everyone, and until next time, I hope you get a little bit of creative time in. See you soon. Bye bye.